Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing assumptions, your assumptions about me today, my reactions to your assumptions. Is anybody sick of these videos yet? I know there was a ton of them going around probably about a month ago, and I actually asked you for all these submissions at that time, but I thought I would just delay it a few extra weeks because I don't know about you, but my whole subscription box was completely packed of these assumption videos and eventually just got kind of bored of them, so I thought, why put mine out there? It's just gonna be filtered and watered down. So I've waited a few extra weeks and here it is now. I didn't want to waste all these questions because you guys sent in quite a few interesting and good ones. Mostly about my work and my marriage, I'll have to say, which I don't blame you. I'd be curious about those things as well. So yeah, I've got a whole bunch of them from both here on YouTube as well as my Instagram. We do have a special guest with us today. He's having his afternoon nap in the bed here, so I apologize if we end up having some barking happening because if a neighbor comes by, a knock on the door, God forbid, a tree or a leaf rustles around in the front yard, he'll definitely be up and at him, making lots of noise to let the leaf know that he is not welcome here. He's also kind of snoring a little bit, so if you can hear. Okay, I'm gonna start out with Instagram. The first one is that you are very close with your mother, and that is definitely true. Both me, my mom, my sister, and Ken are all super close. Ken's been in the family almost as long as I have. Not actually, but what, 14, 15 years now. Yeah, we all love hanging out with each other. We get along really great. We're gonna have really good chemistry with one another. We can poke fun at each other. We understand each other's humor, and we'd obviously do anything for one another, which is the most important part. So yes, definitely very close with my mom. We're like good friends, and so is Ken. Like Ken has as good of a relationship with my mom as I do, I would say. So it's pretty awesome. My mom is also like the easiest person in the world to get along with. You can ask anybody. She is like the most selfless, giving, but she is just super easy to get along with. Fun fact about my mom, she is actually legally deaf. So if you ever hear us like yelling or speaking very loud in a vlog to her, it's because she generally cannot hear us on the first time around. We say everything about twice in this house. The second one is you come from a rich family. I actually consulted my mom on this one because I was like, the short answer is no, we were definitely blue collar, middle class, working family. Both my parents worked just average jobs, but the reason I kind of questioned it was because both me and my sister grew up feeling like we had everything in the world. Like we had a really nice house, we had like nice cars. Like that's kind of where my dad liked to splurge on with his extra money, I guess, when there was some. We had a cool above ground pool in our backyard that kind of made me the popular kid in elementary school, as we found out from my best friend's video with Bubba. She kind of liked people with pools. I had a pool, and that's how our relationship started. I remember in elementary school, I had probably 6 or 7 friends come over during lunch hour, and my mom had made us like a quick lunch. We swam in the pool for 20 minutes, and then on our way out, my mom handed out sour keys, you know, the big giant sour keys to all the kids, and I was like the coolest kid in school for quite some time after that. But like Christmases, birthdays, it was like any and everything that we wanted was there. Like we were definitely spoiled. Absolutely spoiled. But when I asked my mom about this, she was like, huh? Why would anybody think that? Like, she said we were absolutely middle class, and she said there were even some times where we were living paycheck to paycheck, so definitely didn't grow up rich. Obviously we're all very comfortable now, but it wasn't always that way. So, but honestly, me and my sister had no idea that there were any kind of highs and lows in my parents' financial world. So yeah. The next one is that you are not a natural blonde. I actually am a natural blonde. I should have brought up a picture. If I can find something, I'll show it to you. But me and my sister actually had white hair growing up. Not blonde, it was like white. We were definitely sun babies. My mom is a huge water baby as well, so we spent our summers in the Okanagan. We had a pool in our backyard, like I said, so if the sun was out, my sister and I were outside playing. So we ended up with this really blonde hair that was often green in the summer because we would be in chemical pools all summer long, and really tanned skin. And my hair definitely comes in much darker now. It's kind of like, I call it a mousy, dirty blonde, basically. It's not really a nice blonde. It's kind of just like dirty dishwater blonde. Not the best. Luckily, it does kind of blend really nicely with highlights. I haven't done much highlights in the last year or so, though. I thought about this beforehand, and back in November, I did a partial for my best friend's wedding. And then before that, I had a full head of highlights. What do you call it? full head of highlights in June. So now we're in mid-April. So it's been almost a year since I've had a full head of highlights done, and in November it was just kind of a few along the top that I had to freshen it up for the wedding. So it all kind of, I'm lucky that it all kind of blends out well, and I must have a pretty good hairstylist too, because she just makes it easy for me to disappear for a while and it not look too terrible. But when it gets greasy, you can definitely tell that my natural hair is coming in full force here. Okay, you were a terrible, stubborn child. Your poor mother, XOXO secret admirer. That one's actually from Bubs, but it is very true. I was a nightmare to deal with. I wouldn't do anything. I would just sit there and cross my arms. I was also horrifically, terribly shy, like cripplingly shy. So I kind of attribute it partially to that, but I am definitely still shy and definitely still stubborn, just not nearly as bad as I was as a kid. You're great at decorating. PS loved everything about the Vancouver apartment. Thank you. That one's probably my favorite too, other than our place in France. That place was pretty awesome too, but I would have loved to decorate it myself. I'd say I'm okay at decorating. I draw a lot of inspiration from Pinterest, and I love thrifting everything. Like everything on our Vancouver apartment was pretty much thrifted. I don't think I bought, maybe a few of the knickknacks were new. I got those from HomeSense, but our couch, our coffee table, the rugs, our bed frame, the chest drawers, our dining table, dining chairs, everything was all thrifted. So I'm kind of proud of myself that I'm able to make a room look nice on a very limited budget. And I did it all relatively quickly too, because we moved back from London and then I was back at work within about a month and a half. So we had to find an apartment, move in, get it all decorated, because I knew once I started work it was going to be mayhem again and I was not going to have any energy for decorating. So yeah, obviously the last few places we've been in I haven't decorated myself, so I am missing it. I'm itching to get somewhere where I can do a little decorating. You would prefer to be a stay-at-home mom. That I don't know. Yeah, I still don't know. I think for the first little while I would be, when they're really young. I would definitely take up some maternity leave and maybe a little beyond that. But I think for me, I would have to do a little bit of both. Or if I had YouTube and blogging and stuff on the side, in addition to being a mom, I think that would be best for me. I don't know. Maybe I could be a stay-at-home mom because I love being at home all the time. Like I could just not leave the house ever and be totally fine with that. We'll just have to see how that goes, how things kind of shake out. That's still a few years down the road. You never know. A lot of things can change between now and then. That you're struggling with societal expectations of having a house and kids versus traveling the world. Yes and no again. I'm not giving any firm answers on any of these. I think I was a few years ago probably, because we'd finished school, we were in good jobs, stable. We were in a point in our lives where we could have just bought a house, bought a dog, had a few kids, check, check, check. But we decided to shake things up. Ken wanted a career change, and we took this crazy opportunity to live abroad. And at the time, yeah, I did get some criticism saying like, maybe you should settle down, you should probably have kids about now, what are you doing traveling the world, isn't that expensive? But we loved our decision, we wouldn't change it for the world. It was hard at times, of course, but I feel like we gained so much more in life experience, everything, like every bit of your life is changed when you live abroad, and especially in 3 different countries in 1 year. I didn't really answer that question, went on a tangent there. But now I would say I'm definitely ready to settle down somewhere in the next couple years, I would say. No one's ever gonna like whatever you choose to do. There's always gonna be opinions and people telling you you're doing things wrong, but for us, we're happy, but we do want to settle down at some point. You want to be a blogger or vlogger full-time? No. I don't know how people do this full-time, honestly. If you were having to produce content and, giving so much energy to blogging and vlogging, even when you don't want to, sometimes you're just in a funk and you don't want to have a camera in your face or write out a fancy post talking about how much you love this skincare stuff. But to have to do it all the time, and no, I couldn't do it. Especially after having a very satisfying career in nursing. Literally when I was at work nursing, there was a lot of days where I was thinking like, I can't believe I'm being paid to be here right now. Can I soak up any overtime? Like I just want to stay longer. There was also the other side of the coin on that, where I could not wait to get out of there because it was crazy and super stressful. But because I've experienced that, I think I would need that in any other future job. And I obviously do get that from doing YouTube and blogging and stuff. That's why I do it. It's strictly a hobby for me. I enjoy it, but I wouldn't want it to be full on. That would be a lot. Hands down to those that are able to do it, because that's a lot of sharing and chatting and your face in a camera a lot. You're always helping others and are a very kind person in general. I hope so. There's always room for improvement, I guess. I guess I'm a little bit stubborn and short with people sometimes, especially when I'm hungry. My temper is not the best. You're getting ready to move again once your husband starts a new business. To be continued. You'll just have to wait and see on that one, I think. You're not back at work yet. I am not. I hopefully will be one day down the road. We're just gonna have to see how the cookie crumbles. But yeah, I'm currently not nursing. I'm working on YouTube and my blog stuff, and I'm having fun doing it while we kind of figure out our next steps here. You love to travel, but your heart will always be home in Canada. Very true. Vancouver is definitely always gonna be our home. We're not dead set on living here. We're happy to go elsewhere, but this is always going to be home. We're definitely making Christmas happen every year here. Home and our family's homes just gives you that like warm, cozy feeling, and you just can't get that anywhere else. So Canada, Vancouver, that'll always be home. You are still an avid snacker. This is Amy. I went to high school with her, and I was a big snacker. In high school, I always had a big giant purse, and I would go to Superstore and fill it up with bulk candy pretty much every other day. I must have had the most insane metabolism. I don't know how I didn't have more cavities too, but I spend every waking moment thinking about food. So yes, I am still a big snacker, but I, get older, metabolism slows, can't snack as much as I used to, but if I could, certainly would. Okay, so that was the majority from Instagram. I'm gonna move over to the YouTube ones. Now we're getting, what do they call it? Spilling the tea. Is that what kids still say these days? I'm such an old fogey. Okay, so you and Ken rarely fight. I talked to Ken about this one too. I was like, I want to see what your answer is on this too. But we both agreed, we both had the same answer. But we rarely fight, actually. We don't have like big blowout fights. I was saying to Ken that the only time that really happens is when I feel like he's had one too many drinks, which is usually when he's out with the guys. There are a few, I won't name names, but there are a few that I know it's gonna lead him to the danger zone. But that's usually the only time when things get really heated because I can't stand it. But other than that, I would say we just kind of, almost on purpose though, we argue, we banter, we joke back and forth, we kind of push each other's buttons just to get on each other's nerves. But we kind of like it. But we definitely wouldn't change that. It does get on my nerves, but I get on his nerves too, and we just kind of poke the bear. It's fun, makes me laugh, he laughs at me. It's just good banter back and forth. We've always been that way. We kind of just act like big children when we're around each other, so yeah, it works for us. You and Ken have never broken up. Ooh, juicy. We actually have. We have been together since about grade 11. I actually spotted him in the courtyard and told a mutual friend that I had a little bit of a crush on this bright-haired ginger walking through the courtyard. And that's how things kind of got started. It took, God, a really long time. He doesn't like to admit it, but it was about 6 months before he actually asked me out, even though he was a sure thing. We dated for a little while, but I actually ended up breaking his heart right before graduation in grade 12. So it wasn't like a huge blow up or anything. We were both I think we both kind of knew, and that's what scared me. It was like a little bit too good to be true. We had hardly dated anybody else at the time, and I thought, okay, let's just pump the brakes here a little bit, buddy. Maybe we'll just get a little bit of a breather. But very quickly I realized that was a mistake, and I started chatting with him again. And the ball got rolling again. It was a few more months down the road before he asked me out again, and we've been together ever since. So that was in just after grade 12. So that was a long time ago. But yeah, I broke the poor guy's heart. You have some family society connections since your wedding was in a magazine. No connections. My only connection was our wonderful wedding photographer. She actually approached us shortly after the wedding asking if she could submit the photos, and we were like, sure, what are the chances? Maybe we'll be in a magazine, that would be kind of cool. And then a few weeks later we heard back that we were in a small group of running, and then a few weeks after that it was like, okay, you're down to the final 2. And I was like, are they really gonna pick us? I don't know. To say we were shocked that we were picked at the end of it is an understatement for sure. But we were very pleasantly surprised. We did a little phone interview with a writer based out of Vancouver, but happened to be living in Paris at the same time we were, which is kind of crazy. We got on the phone with him and he was like, oh hey, what time zone are you guys on? We were like, oh, we're in Paris. And he was like, me too, we should have just met up to this. We thought he was in Vancouver. He thought we were traveling at the time, so that was a funny coincidence. But yeah, they did a little write-up on us, or a little story. I think it was about 2 or 3 pages of our wedding, which was kind of awesome. You've never had body image issues. I wouldn't say I've had body image issues. Like, I don't kind of stare and fuss and obsess over things for long. I do notice when I've gained a few extra pounds, when I've been a little bit more relaxed with my diet, maybe snacking too much, and I notice that pretty quickly. I'll say that. And I notice little lumps and bumps, and especially taking photos and video of myself all the time for the blog and YouTube channel. It's kind of hard not to nitpick about certain things. I don't like to be photographed in my bathing suit without anything on my bottom half, just because my lower half is my issue, as I've said many times. But yeah, when that happens, I don't really obsess about it. I just become a lot more strict about what I'm eating and try to shed those extra pesky little pounds off, so they don't bother me as much. And then I kind of fluctuate probably 2 or 3 pounds always. So I've never had any kind of actual body image issues. I've been generally happy. I did gain the freshman 15 in nursing school. I remember that quite well. Like I said, in high school, I snacked all the time and hardly gained a pound. And then I got into nursing school and I don't know what happened. Maybe it was stress or something, but boom, 10 pounds right smack on the hips and on my arms too, actually. And I remember having to actually buy new jeans. I had to go out and buy a new pair of jeans because my clothes that I'd had forever did not fit anymore. So yeah, that was the first time I ever joined a gym. I was probably 20 years old. So I was going to nursing school during the day, and then I would hit the gym in the evening and on the treadmill with all my nursing notes from my exam the next day, or trying to like sort out practicum stuff for the next morning, go home, have a really clean dinner, meal prep every night. So after that, the last 3 years of nursing school, I would say I kept my weight pretty stable because I just didn't like the way I was looking. You would never have a cosmetic procedure done. Nothing big, that's for sure. Maybe something small down the road, like little, what do they call it? Like a sprinkling of Botox. I would never do it now or anytime soon, but like I can see little lines starting to form. Forehead, definitely. But other than that, I don't like lip stuff. I mean, you never say never. Watch in like a few years, I'm like, guess what guys, I got Botox and my lips are filled. But I don't like the way the lips look. Even though it's the smallest bit, I can always notice it in people, and I just think it looks not the best. But the rest of my face I think I'm fine with. Maybe if I ended up getting pregnant with like 6 babies and I had a lot of extra skin at my belly, I might get like a tummy tuck or something like that. Generally, I would say no. I don't want to get my boobs done. I don't want a tummy tuck now. I don't want to get my butt done. What else can you do? But not interested right now. You don't want kids. This is when I talk about to people a lot in person, just because I feel like people are really brazen here on YouTube and on social media in general, but people feel like they can tell me that I shouldn't be traveling and I need to buy a house and have kids now because I'm gonna be infertile in a couple years. And that's not true. So I still feel young. I am young. All my friends are just starting to have kids now, so we're not that far behind. We're gonna have kids when we're ready and not a second before that. But yes, we do want kids, and hopefully the whole process goes nice and smooth for us. And I'm not old and dried up and infertile like everyone seemed to think. You have always been into fashion and being creative with your look. Yes, there's actually a funny picture downstairs on my mom's wall. I'm all dressed up in like a Parisian hat and some kind of overall suit and socks pulled up and a funky shoe on and pearl necklace and everything else. Like I'm just all dolled up, and I'm probably about 5 years old, and my sister's looking up at me going, it's a great picture. But yeah, I've always been into fashion, putting things together and making it all work for your body type. It's all very satisfying for me. So that's why I started my blog after nursing school. I wasn't able to find a job right away, so I started my blog to kind of occupy my time, have something to do while I was waiting for interviews and the whole process to get going. And that's where it all kicked off, and I had a ton of fun doing it. That's where I got into thrifting too, was in nursing school. I didn't have any money, obviously, so I would thrift and then kind of alter things to make them the way I wanted. Can't say it always worked out, but it was fun. It was a little creative project, something for me to do other than nursing, and then it helped me kind of get into my blog at the end of it too. It's just grown and become even better since then. So I would say yes, definitely. Phone is freezing up now. I'll go this way. I assume that you're a happy person who is very creative. Generally, I am very happy. Yes, but obviously we all have our down days. And as far as the creative part, I would say I'm relatively creative. If I had to put me in one kind of category, I would say that I'm more drawn to the sciencey kind of stuff. Like I love biology, nursing, surgeries, all that kind of stuff. It fascinates me. But I also have a creative part of me, and I love kind of putting things together and having things be very visually pleasing, interior decorating, interior design, fashion, obviously, style, all of it. I love all of it. So I'd say my brain's kind of split. But yeah, creative. I probably never would have said that a few years ago until I started my blog and I got more into photography and videography, and because I got a lot of joy out of teaching myself that, and I never really thought I would. I thought going into that process it would be very frustrating, the learning part of it, and it was initially, but at one point I kind of crossed over and then it was just fun. So yeah, it's kind of fun that I can now say that I feel like I am a creative person. Yes. So that's all I'm going to do for now. My camera is starting to overheat on me, so I'm going to leave it at that. Hopefully you learned something new about me. That's kind of the point of these videos. It's kind of a different take on the usual Q&A. So it was a lot of fun to do. And thank you to everybody that sent in all your assumptions. They were all great. Hopefully I got to yours. And I'd be happy to do it again if you guys are interested, or just a general Q&A. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in watching. I'm always hesitant to do too many Q&As because then it just gets boring, and at some point nobody cares. Nobody cares about little old me. Yeah, I had fun filming it. Thank you for watching if you stuck around. I know it's a long one again. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and follow along on Instagram. It's just at Andrea Clare. The first A has 2 A's in it. Little puppy is still fast asleep here. He hasn't really done much today. I don't know why he's so tired. Just a lazy pup. But anyways, we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Is he lazy? He's a lazy puppy? He's also been started on a new diet that he's not a huge, oh, he just flinched at that word. He's not a fan of the new diet, so maybe that's why he's just given up for a little while now. It's good for you. You look like you're floating in a cloud. Okay, you ready to go downstairs? We're gonna go downstairs? Okay, come on. Let's go downstairs. Come on. There.